How's it going?
Great!
Maybe. It's hot out, and we just went to the zoo.
Ding!
Today, we're going to be doing something that Dara came up with a while back, and it was like, whoa, that's a really fun idea, so we're going to do it. Do you want to explain it?
Yeah, so it's something a lot of people have done, so it's not really my idea, but, it's creating us as, like, Pokemon trainers. Or, like, as Pokemon gym leaders?
Yeah.
Like, because you have, like, one type of Pokemon, and maybe, like, one extra because everybody has that one Pokemon that they love for no reason.
I love her! I love her.
I feel like you can get, like, one more of, like, the bigs.
I know. There's no Bayleaf plushies. If you know where to find a Bayleaf plushie, please post it in the comments.
Bayleaf.
She was my favorite. So we're gonna make sketches.
Yep.
You've already kind of sketched some, right?
I've sketched one and the other one was just an idea.
Okay. We have our Pokemon type ideas, so we like did our personality, and we can like explain why we picked each one.
Yeah, we can explain it while you draw.
Oh yeah, like a voiceover.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
voiceovers are nice.
We'll explain to you our types and why we picked them. I got some reference images of like the Pokemon style of people, because that's like a style that I don't do, so it'll be fun to try something new. I'm going for a magical girl aesthetic.
And I think I'm probably going for a plant, like grass type Pokemon aesthetic, because I like herbs.
Yeah, you garden all the time.
Yeah, like basil and stuff.
Okay, so we're gonna start sketching, and we'll see you later. Okay, so I didn't film myself sketching this one out beforehand, but I always draw my stuff out on paper before I transfer it onto my computer, and then I line and color it digitally. So for Dara, she loves grass Pokemon, and has always been a big fan of Bulbasaur and Eevee. Normal Pokemon are also ones she likes a lot. I love drawing this head shape and the ear shape, which sounds really weird, but it was very satisfying to my eyes. I drew her hair in pigtails and shaved on the sides just like she wears her actual hair sometimes. Originally, I gave her little cat berets, which you'll see here, to hold her pigtails in place, but we ended up deciding to change those to Bulbasaur ones instead, so it kind of pulls the whole piece together, because you have the Bulbasaur in her arms, and then the Bulbasaur in her head, and the Bulbasaur socks. The eyes were the most difficult for me, since I was walking this thin line between cute Pokemon eyes and like terrifying serial killer eyes. They're much wider open than the eyes I usually draw, and it would scare me every time I looked at it. I was like, this is not correct. She looks like she's insane. I finally ended up happy with them, and I was pretty proud of myself for trying something new. Dara has picked up gardening as a skill in real life, so I wanted to give her a cute, sweet vibe that looked like she'd work in a garden. The first step for that was that a lot of gardeners have overalls, and she does wear overall shorts sometimes, so we incorporated those as well as some thigh highs at her request. She also has a shirt like this in real life that she wears, with the same flowy sleeves, but the one she has is pink, which you'll see that I originally colored this one pink too, but I ended up playing around a lot with the color schemes because I wanted her to have more of a grass vibe, and with the pink shirt and the blue overalls, it seemed more of the fairy type Pokemon, which wasn't the vibe I was going for. I normally draw poses where you can't see the hands, because I hate drawing them, as I mentioned, but this pose was different than the usual, and I'm not unhappy with it. Drawing people holding things is always really difficult, so I wasn't sure if I'd be able to draw her holding Bulbasaur. I'm still not sure if I got the size of Bulbasaur right here, but they're not real, and I don't know how big they are, so I just guessed. Drawing Bulbasaur was a little more difficult, because I've never drawn Pokemon before. Dara grew up drawing them, but I definitely didn't, so I only ever draw anime girls, so it was very different for me, but I was pretty happy with how he turned out. You'll also see that I really struggled drawing the feet. I accidentally drew the picture of her on paper too big, so I couldn't fit the feet onto the paper, which happens to me a lot, so I just made the canvas larger and thought I could just automatically line out the feet and the shoes, and that it would be okay, but I quickly realized that was not going to work, so I had to sketch out the feet and then the shoes on top of them, and then go in line afterwards. Again, they're not perfect, so we're just gonna pretend they are, okay? It actually wasn't as hard as I expected, changing my style to match the Pokemon style. Of course, it's not perfect or anything, but I think for our first try, it was really good. The main differences were in shading, eyes, and the general shapes used in the body. They seem to be a bit more blocky and cartoonish than I usually draw, which actually ended up being very helpful. They also have bigger hands and feet, which I struggled with the most, because I'm not good at drawing hands or feet in general, so making them bigger was very difficult, because I didn't really want them to be a big part of the piece since I'm so bad at them. But I definitely tried my best. I can't say exactly what it is that sets the Pokemon style apart, but it's very distinct, and I think overall I did a pretty good job encapsulating it. I had some reference images of art people had drawn in Pokemon style to see if I could emulate different parts of it, so you'll see me pulling those up throughout the video. I'll like switch onto Chrome and be like, okay, so how do the ears look? How does the hands look? Like, I was just looking at them for references for little details like that. Making the Bulbasaur socks was Dara's idea, and I actually ended up really liking it. I wasn't sure if it was going to transfer well, but when it was done, I thought it looked really cute and fun. I wanted to stick to a color palette of just a few colors, so I used Bulbasaur colors throughout, like in her earrings, her socks, and her hair ties. I also reused her eye color and her hair color throughout the outfit to tie it together. I love drawing traditionally, and I love doing line art digitally. I love how easy it is to just like pick up and move parts of the line art that are only slightly off without affecting the rest of the drawing, like you do in traditional art, because you can't just erase something. That's the great thing about digital art, is having layers, because they're super helpful, although I usually don't name mine, so I get confused. This type of shading was also easier than what I normally do. I'm not quite sure what this style of shading is called, but I really like it. It was really easy, and it didn't exhaust me like shading usually does, because rather than going in and blending out all of the shading, it was just like set lines for where the shading started and ended. So I'm thinking I might actually start incorporating that into my normal art, because it saved me a lot of time. The highlights in Pokemon art are also quite different. Again, they're easier than what I normally do, just like the shading was, but it was really fun. It just took way less time than I was used to, so that was a nice change of pace. If you are unfamiliar with this program, I am using Clip Studio Paint. It was a program I picked up a few months ago when it was on sale for only like $20. I used to use Krita, which was a good free program. I'm actually not sure if it's currently free, but at the time I downloaded it, it was. It was a really good Photoshop alternative before I had Photoshop, and I was enjoying using it a lot, but eventually it stopped working with my tablet for some reason, so I switched to using Photoshop with my Adobe Suite, which I get because I use Premiere to edit my videos. But I felt like Photoshop was missing things, and I'd been wanting a better art program for a while, and I was actually considering Paint Tool Sai, because I've seen a lot of artists use it, and they make really cool art. But Clip Studio Paint was on sale, and it was really cheap, so I just picked it up, and I honestly really love it. It was a one-time purchase. It has like a bunch of great free resources and tools, so I highly recommend it. Here's some of the art I've been able to make with Clip Studio Paint. Of course, you can make great art with any program. Like, I grew up making pixel art on MS Paint, so it's just all about preference, but I'm finding I really like this program. Altogether, all the footage for Dara's Pokemon Trainer totaled 6 hours, although I'm not a professional, obviously, so I'm sure that it would take someone more experienced less time than that. I also took frequent breaks to go get snacks or like talk to my family, so it's definitely not an accurate measure. On mine, I remembered to record some of me drawing it out on the paper, although later I realized I forgot to add in a microphone, so I had to go in and draw it digitally, which doesn't look as good as it would have if I had done it on paper, because I had already drawn the arm, and so the arm is in the wrong position, so just ignore that. The hardest part on this one was deciding on a color scheme, as well as drawing the arm on the right side of the drawing, since perspective is really difficult and I couldn't figure out what it would look like from the front, based on how her arm was positioned. But I tried my best, so we're not gonna judge me. I ended up combining Dara's idea for my outfit with my idea for my outfit, so the scrunched top with the tied sleeves came from Dara, as well as the corset. And then I added the skirt I had imagined along with the bows, because nothing says magical girl like big ass bows. You'll notice throughout this one I refer a lot to Dara's Pokemon trainer, which is why it keeps popping up. I did the online version of my Pokemon trainer a few days after I finished Dara's, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't forgetting like different ways to draw lines or like how to shade. So I was checking back to make sure I was still shading and lining and doing the shapes correctly, because I wanted them to look like a pair, so I didn't want one to look different just because I had done it a few days later. Do any of you struggle with that, where you'll be drawing something and then a few days later your style will completely change? I was really worried about that happening, so I made sure to check back in with the other piece of art to make sure it looked similar still. For my Pokemon trainer, I wanted to have a magical girl vibe, because if I'm gonna be surrounded by fairy tale creatures, I want to be able to look like a magical girl too. So Dara suggested I go for kind of an idol theme, like if I were a talk show host in the Pokemon world, and I immediately thought that would fit me very well. So my headcanon for these two trainers is that I'm a talk show host that has used my riches to start a Chikorita sanctuary, and Dara has a huge garden at the house that she cares for with her Pokemon. And I don't know why in this headcanon we both live together, we don't have our own houses, but that's okay. I struggled choosing a type to use for my Pokemon team because, like, I absolutely love the grass type, but Dara did grass type, so I didn't want to do that. I'm also a big fan of fire Pokemon, and normally in, like, fighting games, if there's, like, an element type you can pick, like in Wizard 101, I always pick fire. I also really like fairy types and flying types, because fairy is cute and magical looking, and then you have the flying types, and I love birds and wings, and if I had a superpower it would be flight, so I really like flying Pokemon. But in the end I decided to go with the fairy theme, because like I said, it just screams magical girl. So you will see throughout the color scheme that I chose pastel pinks and blues from Sylveon's color scheme, because Sylveon just looks like a magical girl to me, like a companion. I also love that Sylveon evolves with friendship. My favorite evolution is actually Vaporeon, but Sylveon is precious and I think would fit very well on my team. And a lot of fairy Pokemon have pink in their colors, so I wanted to incorporate that a lot into my art. My trainer would definitely have a huge Meganium that she takes with her places, because even though she's not a fairy Pokemon, I still think Meganium looks like fairy tale-esque, you know? was really hard for me to be happy with the legs, so I ended up redrawing them like a lot, and I'm still not quite happy with them, but you know, we can't all be master artists, so. Like I did with Dara's drawing, I had a terrible time with the feet. I don't know what feet look like from that angle. I don't know what feet look like from any angle, so you'll notice the shoes, they don't look good. I'm so sorry. We're not gonna mention that, okay? Something I wanted to try out with my character was the bisexual color scheme, because 1, I'm bisexual, and 2, I love the colors in the pride flag. So my hair was purple, and I thought it would be perfect. Unfortunately, I couldn't really get it to look like something I liked a lot, and it didn't really look right for the theme I'd chosen, and I really wanted pastel colors, similar to Sylveon and all the other fairy-type Pokemon. Now that I look at it, the original bisexual scheme I used doesn't look too bad, but it's still not exactly what I wanted, so this one I ended up pretty happy with. I tried keeping the bisexual colors throughout the dress, but pastel versions of them, so you'll notice I still kept purple in the middle on the corset, with blue and pink on either side, although the colors are flipped. I also left the bow in my hair with the actual flag colors, so that you could still understand that's what I was going for. Another thing I wanted was some relation to Chikorita, because she's my all-time favorite Pokemon, so I needed her on my outfit somewhere, even though she's not a fairy Pokemon. So I thought it would be cool to turn my skirt into the flower petals that are around Meganium's neck. So I added white on the edge of the skirt like Meganium has on her petals, and then I also added the lightning bolt looking shapes that Meganium has coming out of her neck onto the petals. So I used the same magenta color from the bisexual flag. I themed my waist bow and the socks after Sylveon, which is pretty obvious. I matched the bright pink on my skirt with parts on the sock and on the bisexual bow, as I mentioned, and then I carried the same shade of purple from my hair into the shirt straps, the corset, and the shoes to tie it all together. I'm honestly still not sure if I prefer this color scheme, but I am happy with it. Dara's Pokemon team has Bulbasaur as her main Pokemon, as well as Eevee, of course. Her favorite evolution of Eevee is Umbreon, but I felt like Eevee fit the aesthetic of her team better, so we'll just say that Eevee will evolve into Umbreon in the future. She also had an Oddish and Bellossom, which are 2 plant-themed Pokemon because she loves to garden. Although she usually grows herbs, but they don't have an herb Pokemon, so plants it is. These Pokemon look really happy and friendly and sweet, which fits Dara's personality, and I think they'd all get along. Next is Delcatty, because this is a cat family, and we love cats. Dara has always loved cats, and the cat Pokemon are adorable. Delcatty is also purple, which is one of Dara's favorite colors. We also added Rowlett. Can you have 2 starter Pokemon? Not technically, I don't think, but who cares, because it's not a real team. And Rowlett is cute and happy and is going to fit in on the team. On my team, I have Meganium, of course, as I mentioned, and I also have Sylveon, which is another one I mentioned, and a Jigglypuff. I love singing, and Jigglypuff is very cute. I feel like we'd get along very well. I also have a Galarian Rapidash. Growing up, Rapidash was one of my favorites because I was a horse girl, and Galarian Rapidash fit very nicely into this aesthetic. I also picked Skitty because I love cats. As I mentioned, this is a cat family, and Skitty is pink, so pink cat fits the team perfectly. And I also have Ditto, because I think Ditto is very cute. Dara pointed out that Ditto would be perfect for cosplayers, since they can turn into any object or other Pokemon. So I feel like we would be a great team. And I also like Ditto just the way it is, because it looks so sweet and gentle. So yeah, those are our 2 Pokemon trainers and our 2 teams. I think they turned out very well. I was very proud of myself for being able to recreate the style, even though I'd never done it before.
Let us know down below what your favorite was.
And what your Pokemon gym leader would look like.
And what kind of Pokemon you like.
Do you have a Pokemon that you're obsessed with and no one understands why?
Let us know. We will see you guys in the next video. Be sure to hit like if you enjoyed this, and press that subscribe button and the bell next to it to be notified when we upload next time. Later, losers! Look at our hair! It's purple!
Blue.
It's purple and blue!
Shaved sides, blue hair.
You're so cool! It's Mariah and Mandy.